Mistakes to avoid if you are ever arrested. Being stopped by an officer can be a startling experience. Although the arrest process is undoubtedly unpleasant and not recommended, it should not be feared. An arrest is like a prologue in a book. It is just the background opening, not the entire story. If certain mistakes are avoided, then your story has a much higher chance of a happy ending. Common sense mistakes. Before continuing to some of the lesser known mistakes that occurred during an arrest, here are some simple yet fatal mistakes to avoid during the arrest process. Do not resist. Resisting arrest can only harm you. Officers do not like when someone fights back and will use whatever force they deem necessary to subdue you. Thus, it cannot be recommended enough that you be as submissive as possible. Do not admit to crime. Admitting a crime will not make the legal system go easy on you. All you have done is make everyone else's job easier and your defence that much harder. Do not lie to your attorney. Your attorney has your and only your best interest at heart. If you decide to hide something from your attorney, it will come back to bite you. There is no reason to be embarrassed to tell your attorney everything that occurred, because when the truth eventually comes out, it will ruin your defence. Avoiding the 3 mistakes above is an important step, but there are 2 other main hiccups that usually occur in the arrest process. Below are 2 of the most frequent mistakes that should be avoided during the arrest process. Do not answer questions without talking to an attorney. Probably the biggest mistake people make at any stage in the arrest process is speaking about their case. People are raised to respect authority. Unless you are a rebellious teenager, you most likely understand the social expectation of listening to your elders and following authority. So when a police officer pulls you over or arrests you and then asks something of you, it is nearly second nature to answer the officer's questions. However, you should try your hardest to fight that urge. Once you have given the officer any requested documentation, like an identification card, and confirmed its accuracy, you no longer need to answer anything the officer asks of you. If an officer asks you questions, you should politely inform the officer that you are not answering any question. If you feel like you absolutely must answer a question, like if your registration is up to date or is your address still correct, answer with a courteous yes or no, sir or ma'am. While you should always respect police officers, it is crucial to understand the officer's job and objective in asking you questions. An officer's job is to investigate and help prove you committed a crime. The objective in having you answer questions is to bolster the state's case against you. I promise you, the officer is not trying to get to know you better, let alone help prove you did nothing wrong. The officer's entire duty when stopping and arresting someone is to ensure there is enough evidence for you to be convicted of whatever crime they suspect you committed. If you opt to reply to an officer's question and have slurred speech, seem nervous or answer any question incorrectly, you have now provided the officer with further evidence against you. Imagine the standard traffic stop where an officer begins his investigation by walking over to your window and asking, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" This type of question is what magicians call the equivoque, or a false choice. The officer is giving you the false reality that you are completely free in your decision. However, the officer has actually now set up multiple paths to the same endpoint of establishing your guilt. You answer yes, and the officer then says that you were aware that you were breaking the law but continued as a danger to society. Pretty incriminating. You tell the officer no, and the officer now says that you were not paying attention to your driving and are a hazard to others on the road. Equally incriminating. No matter your answer to that question, you are wrong and have provided the jury with some evidence of guilt. So what do you do in a situation like the one above, or any situation where you find an officer asking you questions? The bare minimum. You should hand the officer your licence and registration and then kindly tell the officer that you are not answering any question without speaking with an attorney. It really is that simple. While you may feel that only guilty people ask for an attorney, or that remaining silent means that you have something to hide, it is important to remember that an officer does not determine your guilt. Only a judge and jury have that power. Asking for an attorney and remaining silent are some of the most sacred tenets in law. As such, no judge or jury can use your attorney request or silence against you. Therefore, it is vital that you inform the officer that you will not be answering any questions without consulting an attorney. Let us help. Any arrest can result in a conviction that has serious and harsh consequences. Ensuring you are protected requires a team of highly experienced lawyers to ensure you receive the best results possible. Let our team of criminal lawyers and their knowledge of Arizona law guide you through the process. The legal battle ahead will be led by strong representation and diligence.